All right, today I want to introduce you guys to our new standard belt, part number HW921K. It's slightly different than the previous version. It also comes now with a required washer. If you've been familiar with our new thick belt with a required washer, it's two different washers. They're both white. I wish I could have got them different colors, but I can't. So thick belt gets thick washer and standard belt gets standard washer. Okay, so the gist of the change is that, and I'll try to keep this brief, we got tech articles that can go in a little bit more detail, but at Hunterworks we use the same belt on 900s through 1000s, hence the part number 921K. That's 900s to 1000 cc's. All right, so look at the applications on the website. So we use these on 900 Rangers, Razors, Generals, 1000 Ranger, 17 model XP 1000, so forth. So essentially what you're still getting and always have been getting with our standard belt is an XP 1000 belt. All right, so for all vehicles except for the XP 1000, our standard belt is thicker than it. Again, our standard belt is essentially the same belt, more or less, as the OEM XP 1000 belt. Okay, the problem is, or has been, that anytime you put a thicker belt on some of these other models, 900s and Rangers and Razors and Generals and so forth, that secondary clutch will pick up some noise. Now primarily it's been on the 16 and newer vehicles, but it does occur in some of the other vehicles as well. 900 XP, while rare, it happens. Rangers with the what I call piece scrap secondary, the rapid reaction secondary, they got whines anyway, but it seems to turn the volume up on it. Okay, so this has been an issue, I suppose you could say an issue, since we started a year ago. Hadn't been that bad, but I believe the General's probably the noisiest out of them once you put a thicker belt on them. So we wanted to do something about it. Okay, so basically what we did is just, once again, and if you watch our thick belt video explanation of it, we changed the dimensions up. Now we could not shorten the belt intentionally like we did with our thick belt. Our thick belt's for slower people who are not running high speed, so we couldn't shorten it to open up the secondary. And again, if you read any of our stuff, you got to open that secondary up a tiny bit to cut the noise down. It changes the harmonics, you know, and I'm repeating. The noises are the secondary, they're not the belts, but if you put a thicker on any vehicle that doesn't have a thicker one, it picks up the volume. Now, for XP 1000 owners, a slow speed squeal is not uncommon for them. They're used to it because they already have the thicker XP 1000 OE belt on theirs and they get a low speed squeal, okay? So even those guys, we're fixing. We have sent samples out before the release. I think I had about 18 samples. We sent a good bit of them out. We tested here. And to my knowledge, I don't think but one General have we had still any noise at all. I will throw this out there on the noise. On our thick belt situation, everyone but one person, and we've been selling them now for a couple of weeks, plus the samples, one guy still had a low speed squeal, and he said, I have it no matter what belt I use, even the Gates, which is normally quiet, but quiet because it's too short and opens up secondary. He got it regardless. But as it turned out, and I got this email yesterday, his shaft spacing was off nearly 1/4 of an inch. So I like to tell people, I cannot fix you 100% of the people, 100% of the time, no matter what. I'm also not going to be right 100% of the time. That's unrealistic. So our new belt is just a step forward. We didn't change the construction. It's still as reliable as always. We just tweaked the dimensions so it sits a little lower in the secondary clutch. And when you first put it on, or before you put it on, look at where your secondary belt rides. Mostly on XP 1000 you'll see this, but you'll see that your stock one will ride a little higher than this one. And we're just opening it up just a tiny bit to get it past that noisy spot. Now, There will be the install video, or there is install video on the white washer. It is required now. So for the most part, the XP1000 has had the belt over travel issue. We've checked some others and they have it too, even with stock belts. Okay, so we've been trying to get you to buy this white washer to limit the belt travel. Doesn't seem to affect top speed or anything, but when I did testing for belt travel here with our new belt, it, like the stock belt, had a little over travel issue, maybe a tiny more. I didn't measure it with a freaking micrometer or anything, but or caliper, but a little more. And we just really want to eliminate a problem with you guys with the standard belt. Now with the thick belt, it's required because it's purposely shorter and it's not for fast people. So you have to have a thicker washer to stop over travel to keep from blowing it. That belt, people are loving it so far. So this one, with our standard belt, we want you to be able to go as fast as you want to go and not have problems. Well, you couldn't do that before because of over travel issues in the system. And like I said, you have to accept that Polaris just did not get this right. So now it is a required installation of this white washer. Now I'm going to enter that white washer installed into this video. I'm not recording it. I'm just going to stick it in from a previous install so you'll see how to do it at the end of me yakking about this thing. Okay, so this is a quick once over. New belt to either eliminate or extremely minimize any low speed squealing or humming that's coming out of the secondary clutches from thicker belts. Minimize or stop low speed noise in XP1000s who have OE belts or our previous model that has a low speed squeal. If this does not fix yours, then you've got bigger issues, shaft spacing and so forth. And once again, it will come with a required standard white washer. It does make the price go up $5 than it previous was because of the cost of the washer, but it will be required in there. So here we are at Hunterworks, continuing to build what I consider the best belts on the planet. Once again, why? Because we're listening to you, we're trying to fix inherent issues. And the last thing I'll say is that you need to realize that Polaris has an inherent issue. They have an over travel problem, and then mostly in the 16 and newer, they have a secondary that makes racket. So we can't control them, how they make their secondaries, their belt travel. We can just fix it. We know they're wrong, and so we have to work around it with a white washer and a change of a belt to fix their noise and their over travel issue. All right, so we're going to shoot over to the install video right now. All right, take a 21 millimeter socket. Take your bolt out. Take a 3/8 inch socket, take the screws out. This thing's spring loaded, so on this last one, put your hand on it. There you go. And now it's off. Take our spring off. Here's the blue washer, the stock Polaris one. Just an FYI, Polaris sometimes leaves them out, sometimes they put two. There's no rhyme or reason, and I don't know if the camera could possibly pick up, but this is mine, and it's deformed. So now you just slide the Hunterworks white washer on. Just an FYI, you can't buy those. We had to have them made. There's nothing that dimension, and I paid $5,000 for some washers, so please buy some. Put your spring back on, put your cover back on, and with it in this position, you usually can get these screws started by hand. All right, I think that grabbed. And get this one going. Press in a little bit. Get it started with your fingers. Let's get them all started. That just don't want to start for some reason. We'll start that one then. All right. Okay. Now, everybody's against using impacts. I've been doing it 16 years. I think the torque spec's like 7. I've used this, got a little finger control. I've never broke one. So people who torque them, a lot of time break them. But I guess people who don't have finger control break them. So I'm just showing you what I do. Press in. All right, cross it. So it gets good and started. You can feel it. All right, we're just going to go a little bit at a time on these 3 screws. All right, now I'm going to double check mine. Okay. Put my bolt back in and tighten it up. This is supposed to be torqued to 96 foot-pounds. Same answer as before. People get in trouble trying to torque it. Very few people this way. It's my method. You do what you feel is right. Okay, that's it. All right, so that's how you put it on. I asked you hit the subscribe button down here in the lower left. There probably will be a video, little shortcut here, maybe over to either a different video, probably the white washer. I'm not sure which one I'll do, but whatever I feel like needs to be connected to this video, there'll be a link here at the end. There's a link up here at the top, a little white deal. You can click on it, go to our website. Also in the description down here at the bottom, there will be a link directly to this belt. As I always say, if you need me, shoot me an email. Getting to me on the telephone is tough, and I apologize for that. We're just that busy. Selling over 1,000 of these belts a month now, and just having to turn dealers away to buy them. So thank you guys.